Hey, welcome back to BIBSTER'S Repair Shop. It's time for story time. Well, as we did that last Friday, we did story time. And that seemed to go pretty well. We told the story of when I was 7 years old and I ran into my dad's tractor, or dad's truck. Today being Easter, so happy Easter, everybody. Hope you all celebrated it. I knew it was more than just about eggs and candy. It's about Jesus dying for our sins, and if you want to talk about that, drop in the comments. It'd be awesome. Had a fun Sunday. I didn't do much on the tractor just because of that. Played at church this morning. It was on the slapping the old bass, which is always fun. But today also, April 4th, 13 years ago, is the day I broke my femur. And that was kind of never a good time. So I thought I would tell the story of the day Bibster broke his femur and how we almost didn't have Bibster. So I was 19 years old, I was 19. And making just kind of some dumb choices, And at the time, one of my good friends named Matt, his grandparents, they would go to Florida for the winter, because the weather's not as terrible as it is here in the winter. So they'd go down there. Well, they had four-wheelers at their farm, and so all winter long, especially when they first left, because they left before the snow was on the ground, we'd go out there, we'd ride. And the first time we went out there, it was one of the first times I really been on a four-wheeler. We decided my buddy, he tried to make a jump on our Arctic Cat 500 and snapped the handlebars. So that was always fun. So then he decided it'd be a good idea to get on the Honda Breeze, which was like a 90cc. And it was some kind of a rut he went through and hit a tree with his leg so hard, I think he knocked the tree over. I think the tree snapped off. It might have been broken already, but I just remember, friend of the year I was, that his leg hit so hard, I couldn't stop laughing. And before I asked him if he was okay. So we were already off to just a great start of being on four-wheelers without adult supervision, even though we were adults, but not really adults, because 18-year-old guys can be dumb. 18, 19-year-old guys can be dumb. So fast forward all winter long. There's a few times we've gone out there. One time it was way too snowy to try and do anything, so we kind of gave up on going out there. But it comes up to April, and before April of that year, I had met my now wife, Mrs. Bibster. You saw her in the video we talked about us that we're going to be having a baby here in October. And we kind of met. It was one of those, we'll tell the story someday. Actually, if you go back and listen to the podcast, there's a podcast where we talk about the whole story of how we met. But anyway, when we had met, and it was kind of that point where I was kind of like, I kind of like this girl. I was younger, so I thought, I got this idea. I knew she was going to, my friends were, one of my good friends was dating one of her friends. And so they said, well, they're going to be out of town. You could, leave a note in her car, because she knew this had this door that wouldn't lock. And you could kind of, say, hey, we should hang out sometime. It was 13 years ago. It wasn't, I don't know. Whatever. Call me stupid. That's what we did. So I'd done that at, let's say 5 o'clock. Well, fast forward to 6:30 or so, and I get a call from my buddy Matt and said, hey, my grandparents are coming home soon. We need to go up, and we need to just make sure the four-wheelers start, make sure they're kind of where they're supposed to be, kind of make it look like we weren't, maybe not necessarily we weren't there, but, and kind of the hey, you want to go ride one more time before, they come back. Even though in reality, we could have rode when they were there. They didn't care. So I was like, all right, it's cool. Let's go ride. So we go out ride, and most of the year I've been pretty tame, we'll say, on the four-wheelers. Well, apparently all that, telling the girl that you liked her, apparently is enough of a testosterone boost that you ride like a complete moron. And by complete moron, I mean, I felt like I was riding great. Everything, I could do no wrong on the four-wheeler that night. Well, so we're out riding, having a fun time, and we're getting near the end of we're kind of in their back timber area, and Matt's like, hey, we got to ride up, we're going to ride back up, and put them away, because it's getting dark, we're probably going to do something else stupid that night, Real smart plans. Also at this time, so we'll set the stage on the night, I was still living with my parents at the time, and that was going to be coming to a short exit. That was, I had about a month to find a new place, according to their decision, not maybe always my decision, because I was being a big old turd. And so, there's also that. Like, I think at the time, Matt and I had actually looked at a couple places, because we were going to get an apartment together. That was kind of our idea. Well, excuse me. So we had done that. So, you have that. So you kind of put that into place. You have Kyle being a moron at home, Kyle being a moron with his friends. Is there a theme here of what I was, of who I was? So we're all right. We got to ride back, and so we're buzzing back through. There's one trail on this timber line to get back through, and I remember the timber had opened up, and I knew from riding there when it was daylight still, there was a spot. There's only one path to go through this one ravine, and if you hit it wrong, it was going to be bad. I thought my buddy Matt was going the wrong way. So I remember looking over at him thinking, I think he's going the wrong way, before I looked back forward to realize I was the one going the wrong way. So I had, there was, in the ground, there was a little bit of a rise like that, and then basically a 2 foot down, 2 to 3 feet over, and then 2 foot back up. It was actually a spot where water would drain during the summer. Then they had a culvert where you could actually drive over, if I remember right, something similar to that. But basically, it was where the water would drain because there's a bunch of valleys in there. So when I got kind of thrown forward, because I wasn't ready for it, it kind of threw me forward up on the ATV. And then when I went through that little ravine area, the front of the ATV stuck the other side, and I did not. So I went over the handlebars, and then going over the handlebars, the handlebar went straight through my left femur. Like, bam. It didn't come out of the skin, but it snapped it right in half. Now, when I landed, I remember my kneecap being in the wrong place. Your kneecap is supposed to be here, not here. I remember looking down and seeing that my knee was there because my leg was flopped over, or my bottom half of my leg. So I thought maybe I dislocated my knee. So our second good idea was, let's put some weight on it. So we decided, let's put some weight on this thing, see what happens. Bad idea, really bad idea. Then, so first bad idea was going out the way we should have been. Second bad idea was putting weight on it. Third bad idea, not calling an ambulance. This is where it gets better. But he's got an Isuzu rodeo. If you don't know Isuzu rodeos, it's probably good because no one remembers Isuzu rodeos. They were this Isuzu. They were like, I don't know, more of an off-road ES10. Isuzu made them. They had an engine. They had a transmission that was a GM transmission that was only ever in stuff that never had it was the 4L6, 4L30 that GM never put in their own stuff, I don't think. They only ever just sold it to like BMW and other some like Isuzu stuff. But I digress. So we just thought, like, we'll throw them in the back of there. So my buddy, Matt, he drives down with the Isuzu. We get me into the car, and we drive back up by the house, and then we stop, and he gets back out. And I remember asking my buddy, my other friend that was with us, my buddy Eric, he'll come into the story here soon. And I was like, Eric, what's he doing? And he goes, oh, he's got to put the four-wheelers away. He doesn't want his grandparents to know that we were out here when we weren't supposed to be out here. Which then I proceeded to look down at my leg, which again, my kneecap being in the wrong spot. I said, I think there's going to be a way. I think they're going to figure this out. I think they're going to know. So, we get out. I'm screaming in pain because, again, there's something definitely wrong with my leg. So I told him, I was like, you got to call my parents, tell them what's going on. So my buddy calls my mom. And this is when you're being, for the viewers that are in that moron phase, which for guys is between 15 and 32, if you have to call, your parents about something to do with something stupid, or in the future, a significant other, make sure you have a friend that will explain a situation a little bit, because what happened was my buddy calls me up and says, hey, Kyle got hurt on a four-wheeler. We're going to be at the hospital. See you there. Click. That was it. My parents freaking out. They're not sure what's going on. So they proceed to take me up to the hospital, and they get me out of the car. And I had this big goose egg on my head because, smart move too. Also in the moron category, not wearing a helmet. Real good idea. Wear a helmet, kids. So the one nurse guy, he comes out and he's like, so were you wearing a helmet? Because, they're trying to figure out what's going on with me. And I'm like, yeah, because my mom was standing right there. And he's like, well, how'd you get that thing on your head? And I go, was not wearing a helmet, sir. And they proceeded to take me in, and they were, their first questions they asked was, were you drinking? I said, no, at that point, never drank a sip of alcohol in my life. And I was like, no, I wasn't drinking nothing. And they were like, well, let's hold on a second. They take some blood and they come back in. Yeah, not drinking. Give them the good stuff. So they pumped me up with the go-go juice, which then proceeded to let me tell my parents about 3 other stories of dumb stuff I had done the last 3 months of my life. That was just great. They called it the True Storm. Those stories we'll get back. We'll get into those in story time if you guys like these. I like them. They're fun. But I ended up where they got an X-ray. That was a fun time. When they gave me the X-ray, I remember the lady was like, "We're gonna put you in a." Once they realized it was a broken femur, they were like, "We got to put you in traction," which is basically to pull the bone apart. And I remember telling them, like, "I think I'm fine now. Like, I have the pain figured out." Like, "No, it's gonna be better." And I'm like, "All right," which it was better, and they figured it out. And then after the hospital in the town that I live in didn't have the parts, is what they said, so I had to go to like 4. It was a long night of traveling around with a kid with a broken leg by ambulance, at least at that point. And then complications came up where apparently when I crashed, my lungs were filling with blood, and that was a problem, and so they didn't figure that out till after my surgery, which was apparently a problem, and so that was that. So a 3-day hospital stay was turned into just about a week, and then not being able to do anything. So again, you have a kid. Remember at the beginning of the story where I said I was about to get kicked out of my parents' house, and then I didn't because I broke my leg. I couldn't do anything. I was in a walker because of the lung issues I had. I basically, they were like, "We can't even have you in crutches yet because you don't, like, your lungs are basically have like no capacity, so you can't get around very well." So yeah, that was definitely a humbling moment. Now, I'm going to tell you guys the part of the story that I doing research on it actually has no biblical truth. So I'm telling you that now. A lot of Christians have used this story, and I heard it right afterwards, and it made sense in my story, but I'm telling you, it's not in the Bible. It's not historically accurate. This does not happen. There's a long-time Christian urban myth that if a ram is starting to like rebel away, the shepherd will reach over and break its foot or break its leg and then carry it. And I remember my pastor had told that story the first week I was back in church, so I was sitting in my wheelchair. Thanks. And as well as I was telling the story, then we're later doing research, and it ended up being where that wasn't even a practice, because if you actually broke the leg of a lamb, especially back then, it would never heal right. And it was the first traces of the story was from 1957. A pastor used it kind of as an out. You kind of used it as like in a message, and then everyone kind of took off with it. So if you hear that, not actually true. But in the same way, it was exactly what I needed. I always say God broke my leg because I was being an idiot, I was being a turd, and I kind of had to have there were signs to put the brakes on, and I wasn't putting the brakes on, and then the brakes got put on, and I was in a wheelchair for like 3 months. Real fun. So yeah, that's Bibster story time. Happy Easter. Hope you guys all had awesome Easter, and again, knew what it's really about, the resurrection of Jesus Christ, and that he died for our sins. And so if that's something you want to talk about, let me know in the comments. If you are like, "Whoa, you're getting preachy," hey, sorry, man. But yeah, thanks for checking out the channel. Like, subscribe, do all the things. You know what to do. We got the M tank is all painted up, ready to go. I mean, it looks like I spray painted it in my backyard because I spray painted it in my backyard. So it is what it is, but I think it'll look good and get done. So we'll get Otis out of here. It will be for sale soon. So if you are interested in Otis, you live near the Eastern Iowa, Western Illinois, or anywhere, I mean, you want to try and pick it up, let me know in the comments. Again, we should have stickers soon, so check out. I'll put a link to Bibster Promotions and like that, and then we'll put some stuff up once that's available. But yeah, thanks for checking out. Have a happy Easter. Have a great Sunday. We'll see you probably early in the week. Bye.